Hello, this is Parrish Alford with the Daily Journal. I'm joined now by Ole Miss baseball coach Mike Bianco. The Rebels coming off a big series win over number one Florida over the weekend. Mike, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing fine. Thanks for coming on. Hey, lots of the times we hear you guys say that the media focuses on the negative. I want to get to the negative in a little bit, but man, a lot of things went right. When a lot of things go right when you beat number one. Just talk to me about how you guys played this weekend.
Well, we're getting better, and I think much has been said about this team, and trying to find itself and its identity, and a young team, and of course, a lot of other things. We played a pretty tough schedule to this point. We've played on the road a lot, and weather and everything else. But I thought this weekend, we played pretty consistent, and we're getting better. And certainly pitched it really well, on Friday night, and of course Game 1 on Saturday, to the second game of the series. We were able to get the timely hit, which we've been missing. And one of the good news is we've played two of the better teams in our league, LSU on the road and Florida, at home, and we're at 3-3. You don't ever want to just be 500, but I think this team's just going to continue to get better and better.
When you talk about developing a personality with this team, it looks early like it's pitching and defense. And Christian Trent's numbers against Florida in the first game were really good. I know at times this year you've described him as just kind of okay, but can be better. What was he like against the Gators?
I thought he was pretty sharp on Friday. The slider was kind of in and out, but the changeup was terrific. I thought the fastball command was terrific. He looked more like the Christian Trent that we saw in the second half of the season last year, where he was so dominant, and really a shot in the arm for us on a Friday night against a very good Florida team that we needed that kind of performance.
Brady Bramlett obviously pitched well in game two. Also, it looks like you guys in that game were able to strand a lot of runners, make some big pitches, I guess. I think Florida left 12 on base in that game. Is that right?
I don't really ever look at that stat, but it seems right. We pitched out of a couple innings. I thought Brady got out of them, and then an inning, maybe the seventh or eighth. I thought Wagasback pitched and got out of a big inning, and then Wyatt came in. Well, I guess it was the seventh, and then Wyatt came in the eighth with bases loaded, and one pitch got out. Got Richie Martin a ground out back to the pitcher. So. But that's what I think you have to do in our league. You have to be able to make pitches, and it's all about the timely hit, which you've heard for so many years, and that's what it's about. Or do you get the hit, or do they make the pitch and get out of the inning?
You mentioned the timely hit. Obviously, you guys were able to get that. Offense overall, Mike, where is this team now? Do you feel like you're better than you were a month ago?
Yeah, I think we're better than we were a month ago. I think we're better than we were probably 2 weeks ago. But statistically, it's going to take a while to kind of climb out of the hole that we're in. So we have to be careful that we don't just keep looking at the batting average. But one of the things that this team's lacked is that timely hit. Well, one of the things when you look at it statistically that we do pretty well is we do get on base, to lead off an inning. What we don't do well is hit them in. And that's the most important thing. You got to be able to score runs. One of the things we just talked about. Certainly, we think we can be better. And when you look at this lineup, how inconsistent it's been, it's not like we've had several hitters that are hitting well and then several hitters that aren't hitting well. It's been kind of day to day, not knowing who's going to get that hit for you. So it's kind of tough to make out the lineup. Everybody, there's certain guys. J.B. Woodman might have a great day and Sykes doesn't, and Errol doesn't, and the next day Watson and Errol and others in the lineup have good days. So we've just been really inconsistent throughout the season. But when you look at this team, if we start to turn it around a little bit, we're hitting 50 or so batting average. Last year we were hitting 60 points higher, but we only scored just less than half of a run more a game. And so it's not like we need a lot. We just need a few more hits, a few more timely hits. I think it'll make all the difference in the world.
You mentioned Sykes, one of your veterans. It looks like he's playing better, like he's swinging it better now.
He really is. I think he put a lot on himself, especially when we got off to that slow start. When you're the team captain, the guy that's been here, kind of the face of the program. Big 40-foot poster view outside the stadium. I think he takes a lot of pride in being a leader. And when we got off to a slow start, I think he was trying to do too much. And I think about Louisville. So about maybe 8 or so games ago, you could tell just by his presence walking to the plate, by each pitch, each at bat, he looked more comfortable, looked more like Sykes, and certainly we can't be the team that we want to be without him.
Now, he was ejected in Game 2, Mike. He didn't play in Game 3. Was that a product of the ejection? Was that a rule there, or you just gave him a day off?
Correct. NCAA rule: if you get ejected, you have to, as a player, you have to sit out one game.
Okay. Look, the third game, the last 2 weeks, looks like pitching has not been as strong as the first two. Are we seeing this now as a result of Sean Johnson's injury and maybe just some depth issues there?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Certainly, I think Sean's injury, and then I think the ineffectiveness of Sam Smith. He was a guy that pitched Game 3 for us the entire season last year, and has started as many SEC games as anybody in the Southeastern Conference, and he's just gotten off to just a tough start of whatever he's had, 6 starts I think for us, and we need him to get going. And you're right, it's not just the 2 weeks; it's literally been all 6 weeks that we've played. We've pitched pretty well Game 1 and Game 2. But that Game 3 has been a nightmare for us, and we got to do a better job with that.
I saw you started Will Stokes there, the freshman, in Game 3. I know both of you would have liked to have seen that outing go a little bit longer, but to just talk about the season he's had, and are you still experimenting with your third starter right now?
Oh, certainly we are, and we'll go TBA again this week, and it'll be one of those relievers. It could be Stokes or Wagas back. But yeah, unfortunately for Will, we're in this position and we're searching for the guy, and it'd be nice to just leave him in the bullpen. I think he's been terrific out of the bullpen. His numbers are a little inflated, his ERA, and he's much better than that. But a guy that I think is going to have an outstanding career here, and we're squeezing him a little bit as a freshman because we need him. We need him right now because of some injuries on the mound and some guys that, like we said, haven't been as effective. But to answer your question, yeah, still experimenting with Game 3, and we'll see what this weekend has for us.
What's helped Will be successful as a freshman?
Say that one more time.
What has helped Will be successful as a freshman? What makes him good when he's on?
Well, I think the number one thing is he has great command, and you hear us talk about fill up the strike zone. He's a guy that he can run through innings pretty quickly because he throws so many strikes and so many good strikes. And his stuff, I think you can kind of be a little taken back when you're sitting there watching a game because he's not a big, giant, imposing guy, but he'll run it up there 90 to 93 with a slider. He's hit I think as high as 95 or 96, and when you're throwing that many strikes and when you're throwing it with that kind of stuff, you can have a lot of success in our league.
Mike, I think it was a couple of years ago that Georgia posted a solid SEC record, had a good RPI, but maybe didn't get in the NCAA tournament because it was under 500 overall. I'd have to go back and look at that. It seemed like that was at least one of the storylines around Hoover then. But I'm wondering, with you guys not stringing together a bunch of wins early, a big, long winning streak as you have in some other seasons, how does that change your midweek games, your non-conference games moving forward? Does it put more emphasis on them, or does it maybe make you less able to get looks at other guys during the week?
Well, I think we always consider the midweek games important. When you look at all the metrics that they use, for postseason, those games count. Certainly, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that the conference games don't count more, because I really feel that if you don't finish high enough in the league, that regardless of how many non-conference wins you have, and really regardless of your RPI, I think it's going to be hard for people to keep you into postseason. So I don't know if I feel any different this year because of our record. Tomorrow we play doubleheader against UAB, and we want to have success. I think one of the things that we have to be careful of is we got to make sure that we're using the pitchers in the right way. And giving ourselves a chance to grow and get better on the mound, but also giving ourselves the best opportunity to win the baseball game.
Do you know anything about UAB at this point? Have you looked at them?
They got off to a good start. I think they had a tough weekend up in Middle Tennessee, if I remember correctly. I haven't really looked at it. I'll look at it later this afternoon and tonight. But a team that I think is really centered around their pitching. They got an ERA in the low threes, which is outstanding. They're hitting similar to us, but to this point, at 12-9, I think their record is. They've had success, obviously, because they've pitched.
Mike, thanks a lot, man. I will see you guys tomorrow.
All right, Parrish. Thank you.